tip in terms of mindset, and this is mindset tip number 4. If you've missed the previous 3, they are on my YouTube channel. That's probably the easiest place to find them, because they'll probably get lost in amongst all the posts on Facebook. And with this one, if I were choosing a word to describe this one, it would be solidarity. If I were going to expand on that, I would say it's that feeling and reminding yourself that you are not alone, because there are often times in life where it kind of feels like, and sometimes is, in terms of your particular circle, it's only you going through a particular thing. And that's where people can fall into the, oh my God, what did I do? How did I get myself into this mess? And they start beating up on themselves. And this is one of those rare times where actually you're not on your own. You can see that it's not necessarily a thing you did, because the whole world is going through this. So the whole world as we know it is in lockdown, unless you're a key worker. The whole world is in self-isolation. There are also people who, if they've been used to going out every day to their regular job, now they're being forced to work from home. There are also people who are very used to dropping their children off every day, and suddenly they're homeschooling. So it's almost as though we're all thrown into the same melting pot. And there is a weird kind of sense of comfort around that. Now, I wasn't around in terms of what, World War I, World War II, but I do know of the wartime spirit where people came together. Key difference is they normally came together. Well, I'm pointing over there because that's where my window is, but they normally came together in their streets. We're now having to do it in the modern technology way and coming together in cyberspace and coming together online. But there is that sense, that real kind of sense of fights, seeing more cohesion, more solidarity, and people really kind of banding together. So I'd say that's one of the things that can give you a weird sense of comfort. There's also we've started to see evidence of it here in the United Kingdom, most certainly, where we had the thing last Thursday, if you're watching this in real time, which was clapping for the NHS, the National Health Service, and all of the kind of people who are there on the front line. And so I was doing an interview with someone out in the United States, but I could hear just the rounds of applause on this street. And even just to say it gives me goosebumps. And that's that sense of, still, it's like if there's ever been a volcano, it doesn't take long for those green shoots to find a way up. And if you've concreted something over and there's a little gaps, then those little green shoots will come up through the gaps. And it's as though that wartime spirit, that kind of people coming together to support each other, even though we are all on lockdown, in self-isolation, people still found a way to come together as a community. And so I think that's a really a nice way to give yourself and your kind of mindset a bit of a boost. There's also just kind of recognizing where you are, because there's less of the individual beating up, oh God, what did I do? I'm such an idiot. How did I get myself into this mess? Yada, yada, yada. Now, it's not to say that people won't be either in basic fight or flight mode, where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And people are frozen almost in fear. Or it's people are kind of just getting busy and doing stuff, and then there's that space in between. And it also could be you're on that kind of 4 to 6 stage curve as well, where shock and denial and all the rest of it, even kind of getting angry with yourself or with others. So it's kind of recognizing where you are, being okay with that, sitting with that for a while, and then once you've kind of got yourself together, you've got a bit more balance, you then kind of go, okay, where do I go from here? Given that you don't have to pile all of the guilt onto yourself. So I would say that's one to think about as well. In terms of where you might go with this and where you then might take this, one of my suggestions would be, because we're all in this big melting pot, there are groups forming. So there are groups for people who are homeschooling, mothers who are homeschooling. I'm sure there's groups for dads who are homeschooling. And so those people will now start coming together. There's probably groups for people who are running organizations, and they're now trying to figure out, how do you manage remote teams, for example. And then there'll be groups forming for people who are losing their mind in self-isolation and they just want to have some fun. I know I've seen choirs forming. There are a load of people now doing online yoga classes, dance classes. There are DJs all over the place, like throwing down, all night DJ parties. So again, human nature has started to come together. So I would say once you feel ready, get on board with that and find your group, find the people who have that even deeper thread and connection with your situation, and then kind of move with that, because that's where a lot of the support is going to come from. Anything else I wanted to add to this one? I think what I would say in closing to that one also is you maybe remind yourself that this is one of those times where it's actually okay not to know. Because again, that's another thing that people get down on themselves with. They think they should know everything. There should be an answer. There should be a solution. They should be able to figure it out. Or somebody should know the answer. Where are they? Bring me my answer now. And this is one of those rare times where nobody knows. We're pretty much a week or two ahead of this curve, because we're looking at, let's say, Italy, who kind of started all of this before we did in the United Kingdom. So our level of knowledge, if you want to put it that way, is just 2 weeks down the road in terms of, well, where are Italy at and what did they do? China's a little bit further ahead, but their culture is different to ours, so that's not maybe a direct benchmark. But we're in a situation where pretty much nobody really has the answers. Everybody is playing it by ear. Everyone is kind of seeing how this unfolds, and they're possibly 12, 14, 18 months away from doing the rigorous testing of a vaccine. So it's also one of those times where you can sort of ease up on yourself a bit, because you don't have all the answers, because nobody does. And the leaders that we might traditionally look to, they're floundering in the dark just the same as anyone else. So I would say if you can kind of package all of those things up, get your head around it, that almost starts, if I can now hear, I think it's is it on Vogue, Free Your Mind? But it will almost just start to, just relax your mind a bit. And because when your mind is more relaxed, you're more open, you can actually think straight. When you're in that kind of, oh my God, that's the point where your judgment is clouded. That's the point where you can almost barely function and barely move. So finding your version of, okay, how can you almost in a way take comfort in that? And that will be a really, I'd say, a good starting point with regards to your mindset. Hey, Mr. Barry Thomas, thank you for joining me. Barry says you look great. Why, thank you. It's coming up to midnight, so that's not bad. So yeah, that's what I would say about that one. Also, one of the things, just to, while we're on that vein of, finding the groups, I would also be asking, what help and support do you need? Because one of the things I'm doing at the moment is I've got a survey out and I'm just asking people, what do they actually need? It's anonymous, so you don't have to put your name in or anything like that. But it's asking, where are you at? What do you need? What would be most useful to you? I've put some categories in. There's also a space where you can add your own, because I wouldn't have thought of everything. So you can either click a button and go that, or you can write your own stuff. And the thinking behind that one, actually, I have it here. Let me do that. So the thinking behind this one is to put together an online summit where I bring you people from different fields and different areas of expertise to share how they've been dealing with this and sharing what they know about it. So for example, well, there's probably 3 or 4 things I could do. Haven't decided yet, because I don't even know who's speaking. But let's say, for example, I've been working as a flexible working implementation consultant since 2003. So that's going into organizations to help them and actually designing and delivering flexible, smart and remote working policies. So how to transition people out of the workplace so that they can work from home or work remotely. So I could probably share some things around that from the last 17 years. I've also been a coach and therapist for the past 20 years. So things around mindset, anger, fear, anxiety, worry, you name it. Again, that's kind of my bag. And also even the piece around technology, because I've been working with clients online since 2005. And so there's a lot that I've kind of learned over the past 15 years. And those who follow me on social media, or particularly if you're on my e-newsletter list, you will know I'm always playing with technology. And so I started running video webinar workshops, for example, 5 years ago. and just testing out various pieces of software, found one I really liked about 2.5 years ago. So that's the one I use for running my workshops and trainings and webinars, etc. But again, might do something around the technology piece. I've also got someone, for example, you may know her, Naomi Tamayama. So she's a single mum. She's also an entrepreneur and business owner, and she's also been homeschooling already before all of this. So she said she will do a talk on those aspects. Her thing in terms of her business is crystals. So she's also going to do a piece about how you can use the crystals to kind of change the energy and change the state around you. I've got someone who you may have seen the webinar that I did with the doctor of hematology and immunology. She said she'd really love to speak again to bring you more of the medical information and maybe get even much more practical about what can you do okay if you feel that you're coming down with it, or what can you do now you're in this situation where the self-isolation bit is getting real. So, you know, we'll bring that, and then based on what people say on the survey, I will then go out and look for people who can speak to that issue and build the program from there. So we carry on that whole piece of supporting each other, coming together, and that whole thing around solidarity. Hi, Walter. Do people have something that they love to do that they can do from home? Great question, because that's one of the conversations people are having now, about having a bit more time. And I know many people say, I haven't had more time, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But if people were, let's say, traditionally commuting, I would say even if you just look at the time that you're saving going back and forth every single day. And I know many people, I was at a virtual birthday party today, and one of the questions the host was asking about is, okay, is there anything you want to learn while you are in this space of self-isolation and working from home and being on lockdown? And everybody was sharing kind of things they'd really like to learn as well. And so that can be a massive part of it also. So that's what I wanted to share, really. If you want any further details, information, if you're not kind of on my regular page and you want some information about how to find the survey, easiest way to do that is to go to my main website, which is www.transformationstm.com, and that's TRANCE, F for Freddie, so FORMATIONS TM.com. So transformationstm.com. There's a red button at the top that says what's new. If you click on that button, a little side panel will open out. You will find the link to the survey there, so you can fill that in. And then once I've started building the online summit, I will put a link to where you can sign up onto that page as well. And of course, everything always goes into my e-newsletter list. So that's the easiest way to keep tabs on everything. And you can sign up via the website. There's a little panel on the left-hand side, which if you fill your name and email address in, that puts you into the kind of MailChimp cycle. And if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, you can email me, Marilyn, MARILYN, at transformationstm.com. And yeah, I look forward to the summit. If I was doing this myself, I probably would have knocked it out by now and we'd be launched. But because I'm working with other people, I'm going to have to work at a slightly different pace. So bear with me as I go through the survey results, and also then find people who can come together and bring to bear their skills, their expertise, and what they do know about that particular topic. And I always say, look, sometimes even if you just came away with one or two gems, ideas, food for thought, there's massive amounts of power in that can help everyone move forward. So watch this space in terms of the online summit. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, feel free to share this video, share this link. That would be absolutely fantastic and amazing. And also definitely share the survey as well, because the more information I can get about that, the more accurately I can put the summit together. So that would be fantastic too, if you were to share that. Cool. Well, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all later. Stay healthy, and until we speak again. Cool.